Just going over some of the characters here, trying to create some guides for people on how to play them. What we got here right now is Scarlet Witch. Well, I'm playing as Wiccan, but this is, in a nutshell, Wiccan. Okay. So, let's go to operations. Because this is such a powerful character, I'm going to just slowly work with what she does, because you need enemies to actually show what's going on here. So what you do is you start off here. Okay, that's the signature. That's called Unmake Reality. Now, with this character, you have over there the Rift. Okay, Dark Rift. If you look at the bar there, and you hit it, it goes down a little bit. Okay, by me doing the Rift, it actually maxed it out. So I basically got a whole bunch of rifts that cause Unmake Reality. And you do this at a nice even pace, depending on how much energy that you have, like what you collected. And you just kind of go around through and do that. Now when you run out, like I just did, you can use this little bad boy, which is called Chaotic Hex. So Chaotic Hex here shoots off many micro thing. It goes from 55 to 10,000 depending on your meter here. So you don't know exactly how much you have according to that meter. Okay. Of course you have your teleportation, which is important. Always make sure you have your evasions on. When you are going around here and you do this, this is what this ends up upsetting a lot of people too. You go through, find as many AoEs to do the Unmake Reality, and then micro work it with the rifts. Okay, triangle there is the rift. Here is what it looks like on here. Okay, yeah, I'll do that a little later. So we got the Chaos Rift here. It destroys them, and it costs 350 Chaos Overload damage, which is a lot. So you got to make sure you have it pumped up enough to be able to work it. So you got that right there. Now, some people don't believe in her confusion, but I do. So you go like this, and you bring that down, and they sit there. Look at those guys, they're just killing each other. I also believe in this one here. Now this here with one talent allows you to be immortal as you're using it. Okay, which I will show you a little later. So here are the two moves that I used. I used Bewildering Hex. Okay, 100% chance to instantly refresh its cooldowns. It casts a spell on enemies that causes them to mistake friend from foe and battle each other instead of you. So if you get it in the middle of a group, they'll actually attack each other, which works as a nice defense. So I always like to have at least one of these going and try to get those guys to fight each other. I wouldn't recommend you use it while you have the overload, and watch it take up some of it, but when you don't have the overload, it's kind of a filler. Drop that down, get these guys to fight each other. They do 2,000% more damage to each other than they ever would. So it's all around a really awesome move to have as a filler move when you can't do that. I also use it, and I will show you against Juggernaut. Now I see a lot of people, I've heard people go, it doesn't work against Juggernaut, it doesn't, you know. Yeah, it does. So we are going to come around here. Okay, I'm going to drop that down. Something went wrong there, but sometimes her moves don't do what they're supposed to, and that was just some proof of that. He was standing there like normal, but he's supposed to be above everybody. Alright, so we got this here. We'll try for the 225. So you can see how fast she can clear a room. Well, because it's a he. key at the moment.
If I don't keep this around, I'll probably regret it.
Alright, make sure your health's up there. Strategize where you're putting your rifts too. Try to get the most out of all of them. Sometimes I find myself just standing there waiting for enemies to come when I do it, just so I can get the most out of it. She can take a few hits, not many hits, but she can take a few. She is also referred to as the glass cannon. So she does this, but she doesn't take hits very well. And you will see that later on, what I mean. But if you play her correctly, she will annihilate everything. Okay. The reason I use Wiccan is he has blue. After a while of playing, the red actually gets to my eyes a little bit. So we're going to do this. We're going to blast that out there. Insta kill. Okay. You cycle through. Also, when you're doing this here, okay, you got those beast things that pop out. I think that's only done when you have power to it. Those little beasts pop out, so let's do this real quick. We're almost done here. As you can see, there's 225. But look how fast I managed to get all of those kills. It looks like it's almost at 7 minutes. And I have almost 225 kills. So that speaks for his character's ability by itself. And I was goofing off most of the time here, so. Alright, there we go. So we finished the operation, and then we're going to show you. You have the beast there. Now, as we're doing this, oops. Alright, so we're going to come down here and we're going to look at the beast. The beast has... It doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. Hits up to 2 targets at a time. Enemy takes 25% extra chaos damage. So this is damage from you, not everybody else. There seems to be a misconception about that. It's just how much damage you do. So when they're in that circle, they take 25% more damage. There's 2 ways to go about this next one. You can either do the Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden has a small 4-second cooldown. Has a continuous attack on it that lasts up to 8 seconds, but there's a 4-second cooldown. You sit there, you blast it the second it pops up. You can either do this one or the Chaos Blast, which can do 100% chance. It has to have an overload to do it, but it has 100% chance to add these Dark Hex, Iron Maiden, or Reality Implosion. Dark Hex is over... I'm trying to remember which one Dark Hex is. It's Bouncing Hex. Oh, this one. Okay, so it caused mental damage in that. You just remember, though, that this is a single target one, only good for bosses. And it kind of is unpredictable on what you got. But the actual damage is somewhere between 10 to 15,000, as opposed to this one that is a guaranteed 26 to 40,000. So that's what I usually end up trying to do. The Chaos Effect, chance to make affected enemies enraged, taking 100% more damage from Iron Maiden and gaining 30% movement speed. So basically they get pissed off and cause more damage, but they also take 100% more damage, and that's just kind of, it comes with the territory. And that goes for everybody. So you want to keep the Iron Maiden going. They can probably take the damage hits, but they want to be able to boost up their damage as well. So this is a team player exercise with the Iron Maiden. So I will show you how this works with him. Okay, get him out of the way. Okay, so we're gonna boom, boom, boom. I come up here. Okay. Alright, see? You just got... Now, it's very little. It's only like a second or two. But when you're doing it, you'll notice a little better here. I'm going to wait until he goes for a charge, then do it to him. Alright, so when I'm going like this... See? Stopped him from charging. He's confused. It works. Don't let anybody tell you different. Okay? It confuses them. It stops them from doing what they need to do. And now I'm just going to finish him off with my ultimate. Kind of chase him down, trying to run away. So,
There's just no reasoning with
now
some
that we have
people.
hit this point, let's talk about the talents. Okay? Chaos Rift has a 5% higher chance of instantly defeating enemies. Okay? The Dark Rift itself is capable of making them vaporize. But if you want to guarantee it, you have the overload and you try to keep that overload going. You can have up to 2 areas, so it says +1 extra. And vulnerability is an extra 5% with Beast from Beyond, which is the one with the little beast attacking the targets. And overall it creates more vulnerability. Okay, then we got this one here that I use. Chaos Warp gains the following effect: 200% total damage, 4 per seconds. You're invulnerable and has a 20-second cooldown. So basically, you originally had to use all of your overload to be able to use this item. Now it's twice as powerful. There is a 4-second time that it runs, so it's not like a channeling thing where you need a lot of power, and you're invincible while you're doing it. So if enemies are trying to attack you, you got the slow thing going on, and that they were actually able to hit you before. Now you're invulnerable, which means for 4 seconds they can't attack you at all. So that is extremely useful, especially since she's a glass cannon and you can take out a crap ton of enemies at the same time with a 20-second cooldown. Okay. I chose this one here. So, you deal chaos damage, the cooldown of Hexsphere. I don't use Hexsphere. This one here, I can't remember. Hexsphere no longer. So it's basically all Hexspheres. Now, the reason I have it on this one here is Ravenous Binding applies rapid healing to all allies. So if I decide to change out, now there's okay. Alright, so we're gonna come over here. This here is the ability to heal yourself. But the talent, when applied, allows me to heal other people. And so when I'm in groups, I'll actually change out sometimes my Iron Maiden for this one here so that I can heal other people, and it keeps them stuck to the ground. It does a lot more healing than you would think, but until you actually have that portion applied, it won't actually come into effect. And then you got this one here, Obfuscation. It reflects incoming damage, like when they're shooting projectiles. It slows them down, and I mean, 100% chance to. I mean, it's just there's here it is. Unbreakable damage absorbed is 40%, so you still get hit. It's just projectiles can't get you, and the melees take 40% less damage for you. So these two here are done when you're grouping up in, say, a raid type thing. But for the most part, I'm not going to do them, especially if I'm singling or I'm just doing a regular operation. So we're gonna do this here. Just kind of get me out of here real quick. So in a nutshell, that's the way you should have her set up. If you need healing, those are the 2 healing moves, which is the shield to protect you, but it's not very good. if you're getting hammered by anything, it's not good at all to have that. So I don't like anything that keeps me still, which is why I don't have the shield. But against bosses, where people have to sit still, it might actually be pretty useful. Then we got here Unmake Reality. Okay, when you do the Unmake Reality, it gains 500 max Chaos Energy for 10 seconds. That's awesome, because that basically means you'll have about 2 more Dark Rifts if you use them right afterwards. Gives you 10 seconds, and then it goes right back to whatever you needed it to be. And then you got these other 2 effects, which I didn't feel were really necessary. Unmake Reality adds an extra 3 seconds on. The way that's good is it has actually its own personal damage, but I didn't feel that I needed it for some of the things that I do. That extra 3 seconds, it's basically just a large dot is what it is. So it's not necessary to actually have with you, because I can replace that easily with the Iron Maiden and hit really hard. And then of course we got damage over time up by 10%, and then on top of it you have mental damage twice per second for 5 seconds. So anytime you're doing your normal damage thing, you can add more mental damage on top of it. It's just a stacking of dots, which Dark Rift is good at. You got the Beast, which has a dot to it. So whenever you get the chance here, there's all these different ones that have dots to it. The Iron Maiden has a dot. So just take that into consideration while you're doing this. You could do the Protective Ward. It creates basically a buff that deflects and causes other people damage. And then there's this one here that just heals you. So you got a 10% chance to heal. So basically her entire character is based on probability. Every time you run through something, it might actually end up being different the next time you run through. That unpredictability can either keep you alive or get you killed. So you got to be careful when you're with her. And be careful of robots. I will say that when you're dealing with the robots, they'll blow themselves up. You'll never see it coming. You'll never know when they blow up. They'll just be like, oh, there's damage. You're dead. And it'll drive you crazy. So just be careful when you're doing that. Because you got like 10 enemies here, then they all blow up at the same time, and you'll never see it coming. So, and then you'll have to, what was it, the AIM facility or something? Oh, that is like the worst place for her. So that is the end of my Scarlet Witch tutorial. I am the Seaman. I bid you adieu.